Oh, we were meant to look up today.
We weren't meant to. The people decided, man.
You can't do that because he could got arrested.
Yeah, and he just saw this like model of a gorilla, and he was like, "Let's just make this a thing." You can abuse him in the comments this time, right? I've had
it. Welcome back to the Setlist podcast. This is episode 2, where we're looking into Rumours by Fleetwood Mac. But I'd like to start this off firstly, sort of apologising to our viewers on TikTok. They didn't seem too happy with your take, did they?
No. Apparently, Arctic Monkeys is not Britpop. It's indie sleaze, which is fair enough, I guess. I'll just take the L. I did say, in my defence, I did say that I feel like. I didn't say it is Britpop.
It was more of a comparison. And I did say before that clip that.
But to be fair, I'll take it on the chin. Got absolutely done in the comments, so.
Yeah, not as bad as that guy who said the ratings are good, though.
Yeah.
He got absolutely ripped.
Yeah, that massive thread. Well, thank you all for the support on the socials. Our first video on TikTok did 11,000 views, so that is absolutely massive. So thank you so much for that. Thanks for engaging in all the content. We've had so many messages. So cheers for that. Let's get into it, shall we?
So I know there was quite a few votes for this one for this week. I know your mum wanted this one.
Oh yeah.
Bez wanted this one. I wanted Stone Roses, but there we go. We'll do that next week.
Well, yeah, no one gets a choice next week. Charles isn't happy.
Good. So I don't know. You'd like to start. You watched that documentary last night, didn't you?
Yeah. So for a bit of preparation, I decided that it would be worthwhile watching the 2002 documentary about the making of this album. And excellent documentary. I'd really recommend watching it. It's only an hour long, but it's all the individual takes from everyone involved, and I think it breaks down a bit of the musical genius, and it breaks down all the relationships and stuff, which of course this album's super famous for being inspired by.
Yeah, so this is a very relationship heavy album when you look at it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if you look at like the dynamic of like what's going on in that studio, you get all the like. Christina McVie was saying, "Oh my god, like just watching the tensions unfold, like in this studio." And normally, when you have, of course, they were going through a divorce.
I was going to say she wasn't exactly innocent herself when it came to that.
No.
A song about her husband and a song about how fun it is to cheat on said husband.
That's the thing. Crazy. None of them were innocent. I think that's such a good equilibrium for this album. Is there's not really a lot of people will say Lindsey Buckingham is the big villain. But I think personally, they are all as bad as each other in this moment in time.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I mean, it's just like you can't all be part of the same band and not know what's going on and go, "Oh, I don't like you," or "I don't like you," when you're all writing songs about each other.
Yeah.
So there's obviously something's going on there's definitely something there.
Yeah, I think the craziest thing about this album is when they were making it. It was only towards the end, really, that it all completely fell apart. But it had been falling apart all throughout the writing process. When they rented a home in California to write it, not record, and they were all in that contained environment, and that just became explosive. And there's a lot of talk on the documentary, and just also like in all of their interviews since of saying that house was like super toxic. It was crazy. And then we got into the studio. All broken up, basically, all trying to record this album. And normally, you can go away for a couple of years, you can recover from that sort of thing and come back. They were forced into that studio, basically by their combined desire to make music.
But I think when you've got like relationships crumbling and like divorces, it's kind of hard to like push the music in front. I mean, they obviously did quite well with that, but that would be really hard to do, I think. Yeah.
Well, this is one of my favourite albums of all time. Just because of the fact that no matter what was happening to him, all the, political interrelationship, whatever was going on in there, they knew that they could create, like they could wrap around each other so well. And that is just the power of music. Like they just did not let it deter them.
Right, so I'm going to ask you, what is your favourite song on this album? Because I've got mine, and it's very basic. But...
Really?
Yeah.
Well, mine actually changed learning about like all of this. I do love Never Going Back Again. I do think that's really good.
That's a good one.
Everyone loves The Chain. Like that is just brilliant.
I love The Chain.
Dreams, like I was swaying towards Dreams because of the fact that it was written in like half an hour when everyone was bored and like they had nothing to do really. And I don't know about it, but I think it's probably got to be The Chain, which is boring.
It is boring, but that's also mine.
Yeah, well,
it is so iconic, and there is a reason.
Yeah, go on.
Why? Like, there's a reason why it's so iconic. It's been used in like everything.
Yeah,
the bass line on it as well. There's just that little. Like,
it's genius.
Where it kicks in.
It's genius.
Near the end before the solo. Oh.
The bass throughout this whole album is like absolutely groundbreaking in my opinion. Like like you just listen through it. And just listen to those little. You don't even notice them, but like that's a good bass player. You're supposed to be heard, not seen, basically. But it is really fantastically done. The bass on this, I think, The Chain for me is my favourite because it came from a load of unreleased stuff, like a load of just leftover bits, and they just picked at these different songs that they'd recorded and some of the older stuff, and they just picked at it and put together this song, and it is like a massive hit, and it can be a theme song for a walk to the park, or it can be the F1 soundtrack. And I think that's such an amazing creation.
I just think as well, like with that song, like you just said, if it's a mishmash of like all these other songs, if those are the bits that have been left behind to make that one song, try and like think of what else they left behind that could have been made into like something even better than The Chain.
The thing is, there was so much controversy with what was going to go on this record, because they have limited space. There's three main songwriters right in there, who are all putting their different little bits into it. They all have their own songs. They write independently, bring it to the group, and go, yeah, that's a song, bang. And with that much creative potential in one band, you've got to look at how many things were actually going to be rejected off of that. Like what did we miss, and what was too personal, and what was not personal enough to not go on. Like it's very famous that quite a few of the songs on this album weren't nearly not included because they felt a little bit too personal.
Yeah, a bit more. Too much like a dig at.
Yeah, but that's the genius of this album.
That's it. I think this. I mean, the title "Rumours" as well.
Ah.
That works so well with what this album really is about.
Yeah.
All like the different like affairs and
yeah.
breakups. It works perfectly. When you talk about this album, it's like the amount of different like layers that you can just peel back when looking into this album. It's insane.
Yeah, the inspiration for the music is literally endless.
And I think as well. Go on. Go on. Go on.
The inspiration for the music is literally endless, like from all of it. And I think from what I can remember, it wasn't originally going to be called Rumours. They'd settled on a different, like a bit of a more boring name. And they decided to bring Rumours in because, of course, the McVie divorce was so public. And it was like loads of rumours were getting circulated about, we've seen them enter in this house, whatever. And it was like rumours, that's it. The whole band has been corrupted with rumours. So let's make, and it became the biggest album, which I think is so cool.
I mean, like I just said, that when you bring back all the layers and how, like that title, it's just one word.
Yeah.
Like when you look at like a one-word title for something, for a band that was so big, rife with just anger between all of them, like obviously splitting up.
Yeah.
You couldn't ask for any more.
No. And it was heartbreak as well, wasn't it? It was like complete and utter heartbreak. Because they'd all formed this band and they'd gone in as this big tight-knit family, and towards the end it was just a bit weird. Like the dynamic was not right until you put them in the studio, and then it was like nothing ever happened.
I think there's a lot of bands like that though. Like outside of studio time, they hated each other.
Yeah.
But they just had to pull it together, and like in the studio, just like literally lock in the studio and just go like, right, we're not leaving until we're done with this.
Yeah.
No matter what. I hate you.
Yeah. But we make great music.
But we make great music. So we need each other. You know
yeah. It's Radiohead did it at the end of the 90s, didn't they? They went through a little period where they couldn't stand each other, got in the studio, sorted it out through music. It's a magical device is music.
There's loads of examples of like artists hating each other but still putting on a show.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at like David Gilmour and Roger Waters.
Yeah.
That performance where they're all getting together at the end and they won't put their arms around each other. They just, I'll just come here.
Yeah.
But they hate each other.
No, exactly.
And it's like, well, Yeah, but they need each other, I think.
Oh.
And stuff like that. Like, all these artists, they need each other, whether they think it or not.
Yeah. It's the great curse, isn't it? If you think about it, you could be the most amazing guitar player or the most amazing drummer in the world, and you can cosmically mix yourselves together. But at the end of the day, what ultimately does most of these bands in that fall apart because of issues like this is because it's people. It's the personalities that clash. Because when you're the best at something, you're going to be a bit cocky. Buckingham on this album, he's widely renowned as being the biggest perfectionist in terms of when it was writing, and he would not let John McVie have any say in any of it, and he kept going, well, what if we just organise this or make that a bit more subtle? And he's going, no, I can see it in my head, and it's going to come out like that, whether you like it or not.
I think another thing that's a proper scourge for these bands is drug use, and these lot, rife for it, absolutely rife.
Yeah, fun fact, they actually nearly thanked their dealer in the credits for this album, which, I mean, we don't condone any of that, but it would have been hell of a cool.
But then you can't do that because he'd have got arrested.
Yeah, exactly. I think that probably was the only driving reason why they didn't in the end.
They should have done it and had it as like a little Easter egg. Give it like a different title.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been pretty cool.
Visual effects or something like that on a record.
But yeah, that's something that splits up a lot of bands is drug use. And I mean, who was it? Who was the one that like calculated how much he'd done at that time? Who was that?
Mick Fleetwood.
Mick Fleetwood, yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, Mick Fleetwood famously calculated how many drugs he had done while being in the band, and the grand finale, the grand total, was if it was all laid out in one big line, it would have stretched.
Not in weight.
No, not in weight. In
distance.
It would have totaled up to 7 miles, which is insane.
And was that just for the recording of this album or the whole time he was in the band?
No, I'm pretty sure that was for an extended period, like before. I think it was just before the first album, I think, maybe.
Right, okay.
And then after that, of course, Rumours, they all went rife. They went absolutely rife until about 1983, I think.
Because Stevie Nicks has had a massive problem with cocaine.
Yeah.
Especially during like sort of 70s, 80s.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was a big thing, especially around that sort of time.
Yeah.
I mean, they're sort of lucky they didn't get stuck into like, I know it's a hard drug, but like heroin and stuff like that. A lot of bands around that time were sort of like going down that route.
Yeah, exactly. That more, it's being around in that time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It is kind of, it inspires you negatively, I think. Being around in that sort of, that way of life, being in a band, being on tour, you know, going around and seeing all these like the Stones and stuff, and you look one way it's the Stones, you look the other way it's like the Beach Boys and everything like that, and everybody else is doing that sort of thing, and it's just social pressure, isn't it? That's all it is.
Yeah, it is social pressure. I mean, I don't know. We'll go into some facts about this album. It sold 40 million copies worldwide, like from release to date, which, I mean, come on, that is crazy.
It's pretty insane.
That's
it's still played.
That's copies. That's not obviously that doesn't include streams or anything like that.
No, it's still played on the radio. You can still find it quite regularly on almost any radio station,
and quite a lot of the songs as well. I mean, there's a few that they don't really play, but like "Go Your Own Way," "Chain," "Dreams." They're all on the radio all the time. But then they're 3 most popular ones on that album. Yeah,
well, see what I mean? It's just the definition of mass commercial success at the worst times of their lives.
And I mean, that's what fuels a lot of these drug habits. They have it all and they don't know what to do. Yeah. Which, I mean, it is quite sad really when you think about it. Yeah. Well, Nix did an interview where she talked about when they started writing and a turmoil sort of rose and the press interest rose and the pressure just came on. They had all this money. They had everything they wanted. They thought they were in love. And I mean, there's massive things that go around saying that Fleetwood Mac will always be in love. Like the original couples will always love each other exactly the same. But at the end of the day, they thought they had everything. So where do you go from that? And 90% of the time for artists, it's down that road. Yeah. They're included in the top 500 Rolling Stones greatest albums of all time, which, I mean, that was going to be the truth anyway. Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I'm not going to sit here and name 500 albums, but I'm also not going to sit here and say there's 500 albums better than this one. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'd put them way nearer to the top than top 500. Do you know? For me, just because
the album on its own, musically, is fantastic, but without the hidden layers that we were talking about earlier, without all that peeling back, this album probably does rank top 500 near to the bottom, because the music's great, but
it's the cult following of it, I think. Like Fleetwood Mac, I think everyone loves Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
If you like that sort of music, everyone goes, well, I like Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
You don't go, oh, I've never heard anyone say, I don't like Fleetwood Mac. In my life.
No, I can't. I don't know an avid Fleetwood Mac hater. I know people who just don't really listen to them, but I've never
heard someone say I hate them.
No, it's not. They're not a band that you could put on. I think in like going to the beach, you could put them on, and no one's going to object to it. In the car, you can put them on, no one's going to object to it. That's probably why they are so successful. It's because they don't fall into a category, in my opinion. They don't fall into like, oh, this is lads music. Yeah. Oh, this is like
heavy metal.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really easy listen.
Yeah,
this album.
It is.
And then when you look at all the different layers of like analysis,
yeah,
it makes it even better.
Yeah, it's like a storybook. Like this album and the backstory is just, it's like a storybook.
Obviously, the chain as it says here, as I've got written down, it is a timeless melody. It's a timeless bass line, and I think a band would struggle to write a bass line that good.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, just the way it leads into that solo at the end, I think it's insane. I think like that's why it's my favourite song on the album.
Yeah. I mean, musically, it is just flawless. Like, to be able, the fact that it came from nothing, like the fact that they walked into a room and went, let's just drag all these little bits together. Like, oh, we've got an old song here. Oh, that's really old material. That's pre-band. We'll just see how it sounds. Slowed it down. I listened to you can actually find the demo.
Oh, yeah.
And the first like put together of the chain is so slow and it's so like melodic, and then they wrote the bass line, and the bass line brings it to life, and they're like, right, speed it up. We have to speed it up.
My thing about the bass line is it is so simple.
Yeah.
You hear songs and it's like really like they're really technical bass lines, and yeah, they sound really good, but that's like it's like 3 or 4 notes.
Yeah.
And it just does exactly what it needs to do in that song. It really glues it together.
What I would compare it to in the modern day, in terms of bass, one of the more modern like pop artists that use it, and because it's quite heavily used in like your dance pop now,
yeah.
And I think one person who's quite prevalent for it is like Dua Lipa. She's really prevalent for having that like boo, you know what I mean?
She's had Elton John write some of her songs,
and
partner with her songs as well.
Yeah.
She's done covers of his songs, so
yeah, she's got great influence.
She's definitely got a big influence for like older music.
Yeah, exactly. She's So it's like I'm saying, she's very prevalent with that bass. It's in most of her songs, and that's probably the most modern equivalent that you could get to it. But in my opinion, those tracks, granted, different genre, different time, but those tracks do not have any of the same prowess on them that the bass on this album, and especially The Chain, has.
I'll tell you who else is a good bassist, though. The Stone Roses.
Oh, Charles, drop it. We weren't meant to. The people decided, man. The people decided. Look at this. You can abuse him in the comments this time, right? I've had it. Right, so now we're going to be ranking the best post-2010 artists. Now, this basically means if their first album came out after 2010, they got a chance at being in this list. So, let's get straight into it. At number 5, we've got, I wouldn't say a controversial one. I love this duo. I think they're absolutely fantastic. They make some amazing riffs. The fact that they play all of those riffs on a tuned bass guitar is just awesome. And that's going to be Royal Blood. I'd say Royal Blood are absolutely up there. Number 4, we've gone for quite a modern one, I'd like to think, in Fontaines. Who, Charles, you went to see Fontaines.
I saw Fontaines in Plymouth, yeah. I think there's so much energy in those performances, and I mean they do slow down some of their songs, but it really works. And obviously they're Irish band. I've got Irish heritage, so
125th Irish. There we go.
125th. My granddad's Irish.
Oh, fair enough. You can have that then. Sorry, Charles's granddad. Next up at number 3, we've got Catfish and the Bottlemen, who made quite a famous return. I think it was Reading and Leeds, wasn't it? they made their return in.
Last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, I like to think so. They're another band who had quite a big famous fallout and a big spat, and it led to them not playing together or writing together for a few years. But obviously they've come back now. There's been a bit of trouble with their tours, though. They're getting a lot of shows being cancelled. There's a lot.
Weren't a couple of them on the same day that Oasis are playing this summer?
Yeah.
Was it them that announced Oasis? That, like, when they put that date up on the screen, was that Catfish and the Bottlemen?
The Red and the Leeds gig.
It was like the 27th to like the 8th, 2024 or something.
Yeah,
and
no.
Said, like, when they did the announcement, was it their show or was it someone else's?
I don't know. It was main stage, definitely.
It was main stage.
And I know it was at the end.
They would have been main stage.
Yeah, I think they headlined, didn't they?
I think it was then.
I think it must have been. But yeah, it's just poor planning, isn't it? But there's a lot of circulation of the old problems coming back a little bit, and like it's going to break them up again, which I'd be gutted about because I love Catfish and the Bottlemen. They're a proper summer band.
I agree with that. They're a good summer band. You can put them on and I'll listen to it, but they're not my favourite. But no, they're good. It's a good vibe for the summer. I'll agree with that.
Absolutely. So number 2, next up we've got Blossoms. Now, Blossoms, I think Blossoms are quite high up on this list, but what I like about them is they're funny, right? They've got a lot of personality in that band.
That's true.
Everywhere they go. And they've not actually been the most commercially successful.
No, they haven't.
For what they are. They've got some brilliant writing. Like, their writing's abstract. They're doing something that's, I think, new post-2010. That sort of, it's a bit quirky. They're a bit silly with it.
They're the ones that had the gorilla album cover, yeah.
Yeah, and he just saw this, like, model of a gorilla, and he was like, let's just make this a thing. And I think, or it was a sofa or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But
I think they've done both. I think they had that gorilla, didn't they? And with the like backdrop.
I think it's brilliant. I think that sort of thing you kind of lost a little bit after, like, there was more intrusion into life of artists. Sort of early 2000s, post when the journalists really got in. I think you lost quite a bit of that quirkiness because everyone was like, right, game face, I'm an artist. And Blossoms really bring it.
It's that like it's an over professionalism. I think you're making music. It should be fun. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, if you don't get paid for it, it's a hobby.
But yeah, exactly.
So, and I think when you've got the ability to make great music, like Blossoms do, make it and have a laugh because then it will come out good.
Well, yeah, and you get attention for stuff like that as well. Like having a gorilla on your album cover, you're gonna get noticed.
Yeah, it did. It did.
Stuff like that. It's
helped the numbers, didn't it?
TikTok, all over like Twitter.
Yeah, it's massive. So finally, for number 1, we've got one of my favourite artists in recent years, Sam Fender. Big Fender fan. Charles isn't convinced, though.
I don't know. I'm not going to say that because I think it's a bit mean. But I don't know. It just doesn't seem like original to me at all.
No. Have you listened to his new album?
No.
So his new album.
So I can't judge him on that one.
His new album it's a grower. It took me a good couple listens to go, okay, all right, fair enough. My first listen to it, I stayed up. I was there for the release at midnight. And I listened to it and I thought, oh, this is not it. He's lost all of the heavy stuff. Sam Fender, I loved from, if you look at like Play God, which is like one of his breakouts, look at like 17 Going Under, stuff like that. They're his big breakouts, in my opinion. And they're a bit more pumpy. This recent album's a bit slower, a little bit off the pace. Go on. I just think with Sam Fender, I think there's a few videos of him doing like covers in a pub, and I think the way you're describing it, I haven't heard it. It sounds like he's gone a bit more before he did that, like that sort of. There was like faster pace on, because I think he did like a Johnny Cash cover or something, which was like slower, and he's got a deeper voice than I think he lets on. Yeah. He's an extremely talented musician.
Oh, I won't take that away from him. He is talented. I'll give him that.
Yeah, I think the thing that wound me up is he's got a song that you can find on TikTok and YouTube, and apparently it's soon to be released, but honestly, I've been praying for that for the last month. But he's got a song called Tyrants, which is an absolutely phenomenal song. Like, it's very Tom Petty, and that's what this album is. He's let the comparisons that he's had to Springsteen, who's obviously a massive comparison to Springsteen on his last 2 albums. and he's let those like, oh, okay, right, yeah, maybe I am, and he's just embraced it, and I think it's a cool thing to do.
I think that's a good thing for an artist to actually properly let. Again, we were talking about the professionalism of stuff.
Yeah,
Actually enjoy writing something, and if you're getting comparisons to a certain artist, then let it properly slip through. And just like go for it.
Exactly right. Like if you want to, you don't have to be groundbreaking all the time. Obviously, it helps to be like the best of all time, like these guys, groundbreaking. It helps to be, completely new.
That's not easy.
No, exactly. And that's getting harder and harder by the day because after Fleetwood Mac write Rumours, now any music like that cannot be new and groundbreaking because it's been done, and it's been done so legendary that like it won't be topped.
I think Sam. I always give a lot of stick to Sam Fender, but I will give him the fact that he's done well. Like he's won quite a lot of awards, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's done well. He turns his awards into beer pumps at his local.
That's quite cool.
That's brilliant.
That is quite cool.
Absolutely brilliant.
But I just think, just people need to like let their hair down a bit and just go like, you know what, we're just going to write music because we want to, and not because of what other people want to hear.
Yeah,
like, you should write it for how you feel creatively. Yeah,
well, Sam Fender, for this recent album, I think it's an 11-track album, and he wrote over 90 songs for it, and completely recorded, ready to go. So, I mean, I was a bit miffed when I heard it, but he's on a record deal, right, with Polydor.
Yeah.
He's on a record deal. He might only have a couple albums left on that. So if he writes 90 songs in this recording session, he's got 3 years off. If he wants to, apart from the tours in the summer. But he can relax a little bit. He's pumped 3 years into this album and just creatively flowed through it. They brought in a new band member, one of his childhood friends, which always helps. And he's just like proper put his heart into this one, given all of his energy, 3 years in the midst of tours when 17 Going Under's going massive and everything like that. Through all of that, he's writing, he's recording, they're producing, and they're literally ready to go. And they just go, those 11 will do. Ready for the next one? I've got another 11 waiting. How many times do you want to do this?
I think that's a proper skill. So to have 90 songs that you think are good enough, album-ready songs. I mean, I'll have to give it a listen, I suppose.
To be fair, it's probably more your pace, this one, I imagine.
Yeah, maybe.
He's gone a little more old school, and you like the old school. And he's not mainstreamed as much as I feel like he did on the 17 Going Under album.
I'm quite I don't like a lot of new stuff, to be honest. I can't
anti-modern. That's what you are.
I'm anti-modern. Yeah, I just can't help it. I can't get into it. Right, so that about concludes our second episode, which I think went pretty well.
Yeah, I think we smashed that.
You can obviously leave that in the comments if you agree. Please. Obviously, we had a look at Fleetwood Mac and our top 5?
Top 5 post-2010 artists.
2010 artists. So I'll tell you what we are going to be doing for the next episode, and I'm not letting it go to vote. We're doing the Stone Roses debut album, self-titled. I'm not letting it go to vote. This is what I wanted to do. So obviously, go check the socials, which will be in the description.
As per usual.
And just look out for any more content, sort of on Instagram, TikTok, etc., etc.
Absolutely.
I was Charles. That's Riley. We'll see you next week. Is it next week or 2 weeks? I don't know. We're 2 weeks, aren't we?
Who knows?
See you in 2 weeks. Whatever.